Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Loremasters of the Absurd, the podcast where we cover the absurd films of the 70s, 80s, and 90s with your host, Loremaster Jeff, and myself, Loremaster Eli. How are you doing tonight, Jeff?
I'm doing very well. I'm pretty fired up.
You fired up?
Got the blood flowing. Ooh.
I tell you what, this month, we named Starting Off the Year with a Bang, where we've been covering action movies. Last couple weeks have been whimpers, but this
Not
one...
great. This is where it's at. Yeah.
This one brought me right back.
This reminds me that I'm a hot-blooded American watching this movie.
Which, if you think about it, doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make any sense. No.
But I love it. I love it. I can't wait to get. Do you feel like this is opening you to start the year off with a bang?
I think so. This. I mean, it probably just put me on my trajectory for the rest of the year. Based on this one.
So it's gonna make you do anything crazy? Like, I don't know, like you see people like they run across America and stuff like that.
No,
do anything like that? No, I wouldn't either.
No. I may enter a secret underground tournament though. So,
what's the competition here in this tournament?
Probably fighters from all over the place. I'd say.
Well, so you would enter you personally would enter into a fighting tournament?
Maybe, yeah.
Oh, wow.
After watching this movie, I feel like I could.
Before we get into that, I got one more follow-up question to that.
Mm-hmm.
What's your special move?
The gummy snake.
The gummy snake?
Yeah. I can't give you any more information than that. But that's just what it's called.
Can I guess it involves you fighting me hiding somewhere in the stands with a quiver full of frozen gummy snakes?
All I'm going to say is try me and see. That's what I'm going to say.
Are you going to enter the name Salsa Duke?
Salsa Duke.
Is that how you're going to come in, Salsa Duke? Okay. All right. Well, hey, like we're saying,
there's John Carpenter.
John Carpenter. Oh my God, you'd bore by death.
I know.
Well, the first like 4 fights would be really good.
Yeah, and then the rest.
The rest would just boring. Be like you rolling around, just lazily swatting like a cat. And everybody be like, no,
this is awful.
Oh God. I'm gonna go home and watch John Carpenter's Vampires now. Or that could be your special. Like the old John Jack
Carpenter
Crow.
Vampire.
Just launch yourself. Yeah, just like throw yourself. Like loose ragdoll. Whatever happens. All right. Well, hey, like I said, this is the continuation of starting the year off with a bang. This movie is a special movie. Because one, it's the first time covering this action star since we started doing this.
Mm-hmm.
2, this movie's a banger. Tonight, we're talking about the classic Jean-Claude Van Damme film, Bloodsport. That sounds like when I watch that movie. A lot of soundtrack is bad, but they make that noise sometimes. I'm like, oh, all right.
Yeah, it wasn't as bad as some of the other ones we've watched. I have a couple notes about the soundtrack.
We'll get into it. So I gotta ask, Jeff, was this your first time watching? What'd you think?
No, not my first time watching it. I've seen this movie a few times. It's been a little while, a few years since I watched it, but every time I watch it, I get fired up.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of my favorite fighting movies out there. So,
do you start throwing karate kicks and stuff, or you're like while you're watching it?
Sometimes, yeah. I'm like, I gotta put that strap on my Wiimote to fly through my TV. What about you?
No, this is actually, if I'm being honest, this may be one of my favorite action films of all time. I love this movie. I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. I've seen this movie a million times. Even when I was in college and like some of my friends, none of them saw this.
Really?
So I was like, oh my God, you gotta watch this. And then it turned into a drinking game of, hey, every time Jean-Claude Van Damme makes his like face, take a drink. Every time he does a split, you take a drink. Cheesy line. Every time he does a weird karate pose in a situation
that
doesn't require
really
one
for a weird karate pose.
Yeah.
You guys are probably drunk a lot.
Oh,
'Cause this
every
movie had
every
all that
time
kind
the
of stuff.
cops act like they could really stop him,
Mhm.
even though they were stooges. Like it was the whole thing. But like in I love this movie, and also I am personally a kind of fan of martial arts. I've been involved in some. Of live action movies, they actually hide like real martial arts styles in here, which is
Yeah,
kind of neat because
yeah.
you don't really see that.
Mhm.
Except for the last fight, then it's just all it's all off the
Yeah,
board. But
yeah.
um
Well, I didn't want to get into too much of that, you know. He's
yeah, like it's really cool. Like I love this movie so much.
Mhm.
I just love it. I love it. So let's get into the fun stuff. So Jeff, what do you think of Jean-Claude Van Damme as I would say he's in the grouping of the greatest actors of all time. How does he
Yeah,
rank for
yeah.
it?
I
What do you
mean,
think of him in this?
at least based on number of movies this this he
Hmm.
performed in, number of action movies. This is a sneaky action movie because there's a lot of action, especially compared to the last two movies we did.
Right.
It's not the over the top action. It's not commando action, but it's
No.
action nonetheless. It's I think it ranks pretty high in my book. You know,
Yeah.
based on kind of all the over the top uh presentation of what's happening in this movie. So
You know what I always liked about Van Damme as compared to, and I'm gonna say it, even though I love these guys, but I'm gonna say it
mhm.
that like the reason I always love Van Damme over like Schwarzenegger and like Stallone.
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger, Stallone, like they were bulk, they were strong, but like you know they're just big, strong guys. Jean-Claude Van Damme was an actual fighter. Like he could kill everybody
right.
in the
Yeah, like
room.
he did all his stuff. Like he did all his own maneuvers
Yeah,
or
like he
whatever the
has black
situation.
belts, and I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
like he's won the World Martial Arts tournaments a couple
Oh,
times, which
really?
Chuck Norris has also. Because
Mhm.
back in his day, before he became Walker Texas, he was actually a fighter. Bruce Lee. Like the dude, like could kill everybody in that room. And like what's funny is like uh to compare him to another action star who was a real fighter, Mister oh, I'm
Better
drawing
be
a blank.
careful. Better be careful. Steven Seagal.
Steven
That's who you're
Seagal,
gonna
thank
say.
you. Where like Steven Seagal did
I heard that Steven Seagal was his sensei. Was that true?
No, they
I
hate
know.
each other. Oh,
I
they're
know.
dude. Some of my favorite like stories, like documentaries I saw, is it talks about like the 80s and 90s before Seagal gained 400 pounds and did fake
Mhm.
fighting in Russia. Uh, they hated each other, and like they would show up at parties and they'd get all jacked up on cocaine, and then they would start beating the shit out of each other. They'd have to call the cops, and it got to the point where it was known in Hollywood you couldn't invite those two
Don't
to the same
invite
party.
the same party. That's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it was legit. But oh, he's so good. And like dude's jacked. Now, some of the faces he makes in all of his movies,
Little over,
a little over
little
top,
intense, little
especially
especially
this
when they
one.
do them in slow motion.
Oh yeah,
It's not just the face, like he's not like punching once and he makes the face so like real quick. They like slow it down and
yeah.
zoom in right on his face.
The only way I can describe the faces he makes in some of his action scenes is like he feels his soul slipping out of his butthole.
Yeah,
Like
there's
it's like the
something
most
going on down below
ridiculous
that
face,
he's
and then he makes
yeah.
like a weird noise that's a cross between like someone yelling because they're being castrated and the ghost from the Grudge movies. It's like this weird mix.
Yeah, yeah.
And like the one thing that Bloodsport does is they do that yell in slow motion, which makes it even weirder.
Weird and weirder.
I
Yeah. I
love
thought
it.
that was it was a bit unnerving, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'll take it.
But oh man, I loved
So
it.
so let me ask you this. What did you think of the whole premise of the movie, I guess, the whole story behind the movie, like why Jean Claude was headed towards
Oh,
to
well,
Hong
you
Kong.
know what? Maybe I should read the
First off,
back
like I don't
of
know if everybody, yeah, let's start with the
maybe I
back
should
of
read
the
the back of the
VHS cover.
VHS
Yeah,
cover before we're just so excited
come
to get
on,
this
we're
movie
just
because it's
getting
a good
into it. Yeah,
movie.
well,
That
we've
way
had
people
2 weeks of sadness. So.
yeah. So let's read the back of this and I'll answer your question. Um Bloodsport takes you where few have ever gone. Inside the hidden Hong Kong arena where elite combatants clash in the Kumite, the little known but hotly contested World Championship of Full Contact Fighting. No Westerner had ever won this titanic tournament until the arrival of the iron willed American Frank Duke. Bloodsport is his story. a true life triumph of bedrock courage, uncanny skill, and steadfast loyalty. As Duke, Jean-Claude Van Damme also enjoyed a true life triumph. This role perfectly suited his appealing mix of physique charm and martial arts expertise, and kickboxed his career as a commanding box office action favorite into overdrive. Ooh.
Boom.
Boom. Doesn't really tell you much about what the movie's about. Basically,
no,
the movie's about, as a kid, Jean-Claude Van Damme broke into this guy's house because he had this giant window open and they could see a sword. His friends wanted to steal it. He said no. They ran away.
Okay, I have to stop you right there because whenever that kid they have portraying him as a young
the
child,
worst French accent ever.
He looked like the water boy. Like,
and what about that
Joe,
fake French accent?
Yeah, it was so bad. Like,
oh my god.
Anyhow, yeah.
I laugh every time he comes on screen
to break out a water boy line. You're like, water's better.
The accent that this kid, and I don't even think this kid does it because it almost looks dubbed over. But the accent the younger kid version of him has, it almost sounds like somebody who's never actually heard a French accent but has seen Pepe Le Pew.
Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, okay,
it was pretty bad."
Yeah,
I got it. Like he was like cross-eyed a couple times for some reason. Did you know? I'm like, what is going on with this kid? Like, I wonder who the like was that somebody's nephew or something? They like that they put it in. Surely he didn't try out. They weren't like, hey, whenever Frank Duke was a child, he was cross-eyed and couldn't barely talk. Like, was that, you know?
He'll be a great fighter one day.
Yeah. He's gonna win the only Westerner, the first Westerner to win the Kumite.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy. So anyway, so the guy that owns the house is this Japanese martial artist fellow who has won the Kumite. That's where he earned his sword, and he has his like 4-year-old son beat the shit out of kid Jean-Claude Van Damme because he has to earn that sword. And Jean-Claude Van Damme kid goes, "Are you going to go the cops?" And he's like, "No, but you're going. I'm going to talk to your parents because you're going to be the punching bag for my son as I train him to be a great fighter to fight in the Kumite." And that's what they do. Fast forward, they grow up. Jean-Claude Van Damme becomes quite a fighter himself. Joins the U.S. military as some kind of special operative.
The special operative.
The apparently. Special operative.
The
And his sensei's son goes to fight in the Kumite and dies. So Jean-Claude Van Damme tells him he will go fight in the Kumite, restore his honor.
Did they say if like the bad guy in this movie killed his son? They didn't really say.
They don't say it, but they kind of allude to that he was the guy that the champion what's his name? Chong Li
his name in the movie,
the last tournament.
They didn't actually say it.
No, it's alluded.
Say it. Okay.
It's kind of alluded to it a little bit because when they were talking about what clan Jean-Claude Van Damme came from, that conversation.
I'm going to say something might be controversial, but I think they were a little hard on that Chong Li guy because he was just finishing people off cleanly. Right?
Cleanly.
The whole time. He only killed one person, and that was
killed two.
No, who else did he kill?
He killed the second guy he fought.
No, he only killed the last guy because that was when they turned their back on him to show that he had killed that guy. That was the only time he actually killed anybody.
Even though he cracked that guy's neck and then threw him off the stage.
No, because that's why they turned their back on him because they were like, "Oh, he killed that guy." So everybody, the whole arena turned their back because they frown on killing, obviously.
Right.
But up until that point, he didn't kill anybody.
He is literally twisting necks, chopping people's noses into their skull.
He didn't. He cleanly finished everybody up until that last. Finished him clean.
Wow, is that what you're doing?
Even Ogre from the Nerds. He finished
Jackson?
him clean. He finished him clean.
Wait, I just want to make sure before we finish talking about this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I understand what side you're on.
Okay.
So you're on the side that the guy who just kills people and cheats to win the last fight, not that bad of a guy. Is that the stance you're taking?
I up until the last fight, right? He was just he wasn't that bad.
Even though he's like real cocky and like
That's all right. You can be cocky if you're the champion. You're gonna be cocky.
He put Jackson into a coma.
You know what? You know what the rules of this match are? Do you remember what the rules are? You're a big rule guy, right? What are the rules? What's the rules of this?
But he already beat him though.
No, what? No, he didn't.
He was down. He wasn't get back up.
He was not unconscious, and he did not.
He was laying there.
He did not. The judge did not call it.
He didn't have time.
Hey,
oh man!
If you don't blame anybody, blame the judge. He was not unconscious.
Oh, so now we're also blaming the ref.
Submit.
Who your guy also tried like thrown into kicks and like flipping and getting him take damage. That's who we're blaming because this is your guy now. This is the hill you want to stand on. He's your guy.
Well, hey, I'm just saying that I think they were a bit oversensitive about the whole situation when they're going.
He also stepped on a dude's leg and broke it.
That was part of the fight.
So there's no other way he could have beat that guy except for snapping his femur through his skin.
He wants to win.
I mean, that's the only way. That's the only way to win.
Yeah. If you want, you know what? You want to play dollhouse karate? Go to the Olympics.
Is that what you're calling it? Dollhouse.
They had to walk down the longest hallway on the planet to get to this place. You don't walk down that kind of hallway and not expect to get your leg broken when you get down there.
They're in an illegal fight, but they're supposed to have honor. Your guy didn't have no honor.
That doesn't mean that he deserved the rub that he got from everyone.
Wow. I see. Okay. I see you now. I see where you stand.
Yeah. Well,
that's what you want to do with your life. Okay.
Hey. You think he's bad? Think about getting a gummy stick to the neck when you're laying on the mat. Like,
Oh man. You know what? That's ignorant. That's ignorant.
I think they made him into the heel. That's what I think. He's probably a really nice guy.
He's killed people 2 tournaments in a row.
Well, accidents happen,
He purposely killed them though. Like that, it wasn't an accident. It was purposeful. Like he did it.
Up until the last.
It's not like he tripped and accidentally elbowed somebody.
I'm just saying, most of the tournament he was fine up until the match before Jean-Claude, and he even held on to that guy's bandana for him. He's like, "I'm going to hold on to this for you, so you don't lose it."
Took it from him.
So he didn't lose it.
And then wore it around his leg.
Yeah.
Why he fought Jean-Claude Van Damme.
He didn't want him to lose it. They was just holding on.
Why did he just give it back to Jean-Claude Van Damme?
Because he didn't. Jean-Claude Van Damme had to go visit him in the hospital. He didn't want to be burdened like carrying.
Why did he wear it on himself while he's fighting? Why didn't he give it to
Because it's easy access. Then he can just be like, "Hey, here you go. When I see you again, it's a token of friendship. I held."
Oh, is that what it is?
For you. Yep.
Oh, wow. Okay. You know what? I see how you are in this fight. Now I see. If you were invited to the Kumite, I see how you are.
I'd hit them bricks with the dim mock. So
I don't know. You can't. Your guy doesn't do that.
Well,
your
guy is
because he cheats. He breaks. He kills people.
You'd say the bottom brick, and I just break the whole table. It wouldn't matter. Like
right. You know why? Because you don't follow the rules.
Guess the bottom. There's no rules. There's no rules. What are the rules?
They tell you try not to kill nobody.
They should try.
There wasn't. He purposely. Purposely did it.
You don't know that. You don't.
The whole fight, he was trying to kill people.
You don't know that. I mean,
it showed the scenes where he's like twisting people's necks and purposely kicking their nose into their skull. Like that dude was trying.
I mean, I'm just saying it's a full contact.
Wow,
full contact. It's called Bloodsport here, guy.
Well, yeah. Listen, that's how you feel. That's the hill you want to be on. Don't let me judge you. But if we call Mr. Van Damme, I think he'd feel different.
Well, I'll call Chung Lee and see what he says.
Well, you know what I think he's gonna do? He's gonna try to break your neck because he just kills people.
I'll be like, "Hey, I got a bandana for you."
Oh my god! But yeah. So all right. So let me.
She'll be saying the Predator's a bad guy.
Predator is a bad guy.
No, he's just a hunter.
He kills people for sport. That sounds like something a bad guy would do.
No, he's trying to evolve people by hunting the most powerful. Yeah, and get better.
And when he kills them, how do they get better?
All I know is I've heard that every time he attacks people, he plays Eye of the Tiger, so you get motivated.
The Predator does?
Yeah, you try to do better. You know what I mean? That's what I heard. I mean,
yeah.
So,
and then when he kills you, how do you get better?
Well, that's your goal is to not get killed. So,
but he's killing you.
No, not if you rise up back on the streets.
Isolate a word in that sentence. Kill.
No,
he's killing people.
I'm just saying. I think you're reversed. That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm the mixed up one of this. You're right. I'm mixed up with this. So if we're gonna talk about talking about your guy, Van Damme, I think Van Damme was a good hero in this.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the villain, who would be Mr. Lee?
I thought he was a good villain.
Yeah.
I thought he was. He didn't have a lot. There was not a lot of like dialogue regarding him in this movie. There didn't need to be.
No.
As far as like an antagonist, to Jean-Claude's character, he was a good juxtaposition.
Yeah.
Definitely opposites. So, Mr. Duke is an honorable fighter, and our boy Chong Li was a little questionable.
Questionable. Okay.
Yeah, he didn't have quite a stern sensei, so I'd say. So
Right,
what did they call? They didn't call him a sensei in this. What did they call him?
No, I'm trying to remember that, and I can't remember the exact word they used. But like he fought under their clan.
Yeah.
I don't think they said what clan.
What is his last name? Like that
Lee went under, but I will say like
Zhong Li. No, they didn't really talk about it.
But he was a good villain. I also too like how they found somebody who was like quick, did martial arts, but was built like a brick shit house. A lot of the fighters were like kind of lean, and this dude's pecs were the size of my fucking car tires.
He was probably as big as Arnold.
He looked like the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, he was big. Yeah.
Like it was.
He's in that era. He was in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, he was in a ton too as well. Oh man, so good. What did you think of? So then, also in this movie, you have a cast of supporting characters. You got Jackson, who's this American fighter who they invite, who's basically a bar fighter. He doesn't really have like a fight style because he just like clubs people.
Yeah, he's just
like
a brawler, right?
Yeah. Like he brought a lot of the humor to the movie, I'd say. What do you think of Jackson?
Yeah. I mean, he was the quintessential American from the 80s, Harley Davidson shirt, drinking beer all the time. Just a big kind of oaf, but at the same time, that's kind of what you expect from that guy. It was it was the same guy played Ogre in the Revenge of the Nerds and Nerds. But the rest of the cast, I don't know, like the guy that was like their guide, I could have done without him. Didn't really care. It didn't really matter. He didn't need to be in there. That lady was annoying because she's like reporter. She's trying to get a story about a secret thing, and she's like, "Why won't anybody talk about it? It's because it's secret, you idiot! Like nobody's gonna. Why would anybody talk to you about it?"
Well, they're like, it's secret. You can't tell nobody. We don't talk to you. She's like, I can keep a secret, and then like her and John Claude get together, and then all of a sudden she's like, "This is too dangerous. He can't fight it," and then goes to the police. It tells them about this secret martial art. Like that's why no one wants to tell it. No one will talk to you.
Yeah, for real. Nobody wants to talk to him. Like
that's 100% why no one wants to talk to you. You did the exact thing they thought you would do.
Yeah. Speaking of I keep calling him Ogre Jackson. Like, did you catch the one part where Jackson and the bad guy? Did you catch the one part whenever like he pointed at Chong Li?
Yeah.
And Chong Li was like, "What are you pointing at me for?" Like he was like looking around. Like,
well, you hear the line.
He cracked me up. He was like, "What are you?"
He's like, "I'm calling out the champion," but I'm like, "That dude, like, you just club people."
Yeah, he's just like hit
these
that
are killers.
Like times. Yeah.
After he like kicked the shit out of him for like 5 minutes, and then he just clubs him in the head, and then he's calling out this guy who they said has killed people, and it's like, what are you going to do? Like, if I was Jackson and I get this tournament, I see Jean-Claude Van Damme exploding bricks through bricks.
Yeah.
I see that guy killing people and like flip them out. I see some of these other friends. I'm like, you know what? The same for me.
They made a mistake by calling me here. That's for sure.
That's it. Yeah, for me.
He did seem kind of out of place, and I get it because he's so big and whatever. But that sumo wrestler guy was real big, or I guess he was supposed to be a sumo wrestler, and that was like the next to last guy.
Yeah, he was like a big thick guy too.
That Jean-Claude. And so here's another thing: your hero Jean-Claude Van Damme punched a guy in the groin. So what a hero!
Well, I mean,
no, it's okay. It's okay.
That's not a death shot. That's not killing anybody.
Okay to stomp on somebody's head, but it's not. But it's it's not okay to stomp on somebody's head, but it's okay to give somebody a low blow. And you want to talk about honor?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
There's a difference between trying to kill somebody by cracking them in the head and then taking a quick nut shot.
It's all the same.
Wow. I tell you, man,
you either have honor or you don't, son. That's all there is to it. There's no 50%.
Are you saying Lee had honor?
No, I'm saying he did. If he didn't, then Jean-Claude, then Frank Duke did.
No, he was pulling out all stops because he was there for an honorable reason.
Oh, okay. So so Chong Li, what if his backstory? What if his father, his dying deathbed wish was to him to be
a serial killer?
For him to become the best at the Kumite ever, right? So he's there for an honorable reason, so it doesn't matter.
But he killed people.
It's honorable. You just said if he did that.
No, I didn't.
Van Damme, for an honorable reason. You said it,
but it wasn't killing. That's a line. You can't cross that line. That's the rule. Everybody knows the rule.
No,
you can't cross the line.
I think you.
The whole no one turned their back on Van Damme when he hit that guy in the nuts. Everybody turned their back on Lee.
That's what I'm saying. They
murdered a man.
He was getting an unfair shake. Is all I'm saying. You know. Yep.
I don't even know how to respond to you right now. You know what? You're not invited to Kumite. That's what's happening. You're not invited.
All right, well, I'll be in the audience. You better believe.
Nope. they're gonna have signs up there. This guy's not allowed. He's got no honor.
Well, I'll dress up like Thulsa Dune and go into the be at the top.
They might be talking like, why is there that weird guy in leather and long hair? It's like
a bag full of gummies.
He keeps making hissing noises. Makes me uncomfortable.
I don't know what's happening here.
We should get him out of here. How did he even get in here? Who is he? I don't know. He said his name was Salsa. Salsa.
What? What did you think of the soundtrack of this movie?
Once again, I don't know what it is. You know what's weird? Like when there was like fighting scenes and some of the action scenes.
Yeah, it was.
The music was good, but then there was like some weird songs. Like for example, there's this whole subplot where, because apparently Jean-Claude Van Damme makes up 95% of the military power in the United States.
That was so stupid. That was a dumb, like there's that whole part didn't even need to be there.
Oh, like just wait. We're gonna talk about it.
Okay.
But he because I have a little bit of trivia for you that I don't know if you're aware of with this movie.
All right.
But there's this whole subplot where like these two military guys, because he escapes, they don't want him fighting this tournament.
Well, he didn't escape. Like, anyhow, good.
Well, I mean, they said you gotta go talk to Commander. He slips out of the shower and then goes to Hong Kong. So they chase after Hong Kong to get him, bring him back. So there's this scene where like Jackson and Van Damme are drinking in a restaurant. These two cops show up with the biggest fucking tasers I've ever seen in my life. And they're like, you're gonna come back to the States or you're gonna get 10,000 volts. And he's like, so then like Jackson like pushes them and Van Damme starts running and there's this chase scene. Mm-hmm. There's the weirdest, cheesiest, stupidest song I've ever heard that's literally about chasing someone.
I was just gonna every song that wasn't in fighting in this movie was about what was going on.
Yeah.
Like the very first time I noticed is when they were at the Kumite for the first time and he broke the brick, they started playing a song about the Kumite. And then they played that chase song. And then what was there was the third one. I think I have it on my notes here.
Is it the montage song?
No, man. Every like oh yeah, like whenever he left the girl's apartment, like because he was like he broke up with like it was like this on your own song, like whatever. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Like every single song is about what's happening exactly at that moment.
And like they were terrible songs.
Yeah, they weren't great.
Like they were so bad, and like they clashed with like the movie and like the rest of the music in the movie that like it was almost like a record scratch. Because I remember that when that chasing started and it's like when you're being chased, and I went and like every time I watch I do the same thing because it like takes me out like, oh, here's that stupid song again. What's
it was
happening?
So weird. I thought that was really peculiar. Like every single thing that happened outside of the fighting, there was a song that was associated with exactly what was happening.
Like it was so weird. Like, oh my God, I hated it so much. You know, it's like where those like I mean, don't get me wrong, like there's some cheese in this movie and stuff.
Yeah,
and like
I mean,
that song's stupid, and like this whole plot with him and that girl, and like she doesn't want him to fight, she doesn't die, and then he's like no, I have to do it. And like, what's also weird too is like, it's alluded that his brother for a sensei, from a sensei got murdered this, but he's like, I just want to earn my sword and bring honor to my sensei. It's like, you don't want to get revenge for your brother?
No, they glossed over that part. They're like, nah, that's
Like this is weird stuff, but like the plot's cool. And even like what's kind of nice about this is they show a bunch of fights that Van Damme's not into, and there's like a lot of cool fights in this.
Right. And you know what I like too? They weren't drug out so long where you're like, okay, this like because the choreography was really good in this.
Yeah.
The fighting choreography and like the fights were just long enough to kind of get a feel for what was happening, and then they were over. There wasn't, it wasn't like a 25-minute fight for people you don't care about.
Yeah.
So, I like that. I like that part a lot.
And like it's so, like some of me, like like who likes martial arts and like watching actual martial arts fights and stuff. I like that they showed like real styles, like a lot until like now. Obviously, there was a couple moments where it was like hyper stylized and whatever, but like a lot of these regular fights, like there was a guy doing Muay Thai, which was pretty cool. There was a guy doing that samba, that dance fighting,
Yeah.
Like there's people like doing like taekwondo, like it was really cool. And like you're right, they weren't kickboxing. They weren't like super long, like, but they were just these cool little like neat fights, and like and so like what the best description of this movie is?
What's that?
Karate Kid for adults.
Yeah.
This is basically the Karate Kid, but except for the fact that Jean-Claude Van Damme starts out as a badass, and me not spending 3/4 of the movie listening to whine and cry because bullies beat him up.
I was thinking maybe a good description would be like the martial arts sampler box. Like,
oh yeah. I like that. So
there's a lot of montages in this.
Oh movie. Yeah, there was like training him as a kid, him training as an adult,
him
being sad walking through Hong Kong.
Yeah, sad walking. The cop chase,
which went on a little too long. And it was like watching a Three Stooges episode.
Yeah, that was really lame. They should have just left this whole cop thing. They should have just left them out. So
there was this montage of like all the fighters showing up, which didn't really matter. They could have just showed us Lee, Van Damme, Jack, whatever. But like
the other thing that's weird about Chong Li is like he was like upset so much about his record getting broke, like because it wasn't like he lost the tournament. He just like his speed like he was like irrationally upset about it. Like,
what?
He was so
you think your guy was irrational?
Yeah,
because he's a villain.
Oh, you know what? I don't like. Don't be throwing the V word around.
He literally was angry and wanted to kill people and wanted to kill Van Damme because he broke his speed record.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was upset by that. Yep.
Like,
it seems fine though.
What it's fine. Yeah, and I bet you think Lex Luthor's just misunderstood.
Oh yeah, I mean, you don't reach a certain height of intelligence and not be misunderstood.
Do you know in the comics? Do you know why originally Lex Luthor became a villain?
Why is that?
And why he hated Superman?
Why is that?
Because when they were in high school, they were in the chemistry room doing a science experiment, and like this chemical blew up, burnt all of Lex Luthor's hair off. Superman saved him, but then everybody laughed at him because he was bald. He was mad Superman didn't save him enough, so he'd have hair, so people would make fun of him. That's who you want to stand behind. That's your guy. Lee is the Lex Luthor, original Lex Luthor of Bloodsport.
Wow.
Someone broke my speed record, so I'm going to have to kill everybody here.
Not everybody, just whoever he fought. He was hoping that the rest of the people kill him. He wouldn't have to worry about it.
Wow. I'll tell you what. But hey, you want to? So I promised you some little bit of trivia about this movie.
Yeah,
that is going to explain the cop stuff, a little bit of stuff to you.
Okay.
Do you know the backstory of this movie?
I do. Well, are you talking about that Frank Duke is a real person? And yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how this guy's basically full of shit.
From what I was reading, there's like some embellishment, we'll call it, on what
there's a bunch of movies he's involved in.
Yeah.
That he said was based on his real life, and they can't confirm any of this. None of it.
Really?
None of it.
Yeah.
So, and then so much so that I think it was when Navy SEALs came out, he said that movie was about his life and they were making fun of him. And he tried suing and he lost because he couldn't prove
that he was in the Navy
life.
SEALs. Yeah.
He also sued Van Damme for another movie they did because he said Van Damme stole his story, but like once again, couldn't prove. Yeah, he said this legit movie this happened to him. And that the government tried to stop him from fighting this underground.
Well, no, that I thought that part was relatively real because there's like a record in it only
he has a record for martial arts. He said there was
like I read like Wikipedia or something that it was saying that like this was like there's an actual like record of his win in like if South African fighting something or African fighting.
They can't actually like if you look, he has what he produces. Yeah, they can't actually find it. It's never been proven.
Well, it seems reasonable.
Yeah, the guy. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this guy made up all this.
I don't know. They said they quoted they cited it at the end of this movie though. So what you know what I mean?
Like, he helped write this movie. This movie this movie is based on the book he wrote about his life.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like this movie is actually based on a book that he wrote about his life, and then when it got made into a movie, he was one of the choreographers. Yeah, him and who worked with Van Damme, but like there's actual records of Van Damme's wins because like he was a kickboxing champion, I think, in France or something.
I don't know.
Van Damme's got actual records you can prove.
Right.
This guy doesn't.
Well, yeah, that's because it's a secret underground tournament. I don't.
Oh, I guess that's true.
Why would you have records for that?
But you know what though? If this is the case, he admitted some like this is things that this like. Would you want people to know that like you were in a tournament and you punch somebody in the wiener?
I mean, according to you, it was all for an honorable cause.
It's different.
So. No, it's not.
No, because you were trying to say you're trying to make Van Damme the villain versus your boy Lee, who literally tried to kill everyone he fought.
All right. Well, I will agree to disagree that you're wrong.
Wow. I don't even know. I can't even look at you right now.
What do you think of the ending of this movie?
You know what? It's weird. It's like the last fight. It's like kind of super stylized and weird, and like it was really good. And then there's this weird part where Lee's got a salt capsule in his shorts, and he pulls it out, throws it at Van Damme's eyes. He's like beating Van Damme up a little bit, and then Van Damme does that weird slow motion. My soul's crawling out of my ass, scream, and like he has this look on his face like his spirit is being possessed by the devil. And then there's this montage of like him remembering fighting blindfolded.
I was gonna say at the beginning, like literally, like 10 minutes of montage of him being blindfolded. Fighting. And then it was like
there's two montages about it.
He's already fought blindfolded for like how long?
Yeah. You know? Like, and there's two montages about him fighting blindfolded, which I'm like, all right, and like that part's a little cheesy, but like I like it. And then the end of the fight's pretty good. And then the fact that he makes that guy he makes Lee give up, basically tap out. Yeah. He's all like breaks his neck. The only thing that sometimes gets a little that last fight, it's a good looking fight. It's it's action's great. The only thing that's weird is from the moment he's blinded until he wins that fight, he just has his eyes open as wide as possible. And he keeps making that face.
Yeah, that was real weird.
Like it looks like if there was a martial arts fight during the invasion of the Body Snatchers. Like it's weird.
Yeah, it's real weird. He's making a super weird face.
Yeah. Like sometimes you catch his face and you're like, why does he keep making that face? Like I don't understand. But hey, it's a cool fight. What do you think?
You know what I thought was weird? I thought that once again the fight was really it was good. I mean, there has to be a little drama in the fight, right?
Right.
Make him blind or whatever. Honestly, the weirdest part about it is, and unless I missed it, they never said that his sensei was dead. But like at the end, he acted like he was dead. You know what I mean? He's like, "This is for you," and he's like pointing to heaven or whatever. Like,
well, he was on his deathbed.
Yeah, but like they didn't say he actually died. I was like, was Sensei still alive? And then honestly, the same thing with like Jackson. Like he's in the hospital. Like
he was in a coma.
No, he wasn't. He was up and talking to him. What are you talking about? He was
after a week.
He was fine. Like
it took him a week to wake up.
Yeah, but like they tried to make it like this Rocky moment where he killed where Dolph Lundgren killed.
He thought he was, yeah. They didn't know if he was ever gonna wake up.
No.
And did you notice that when he woke up,
Fine.
the actor was doing this weird thing, trying to look like cross-eyed at
Yeah,
points, but he would forget to do it sometimes, and then he
Yeah.
would turn, and it would be like this weird like moment. But like,
Yeah,
that's what happened. That dude,
it was a
like,
little over. I'm just saying it was a little over dramatic. Like, don't you think?
he
Like,
was in a coma.
he was fine. He's
Man,
fine.
I'll tell you
Once
what.
again, pin another one on Chong Li, I guess. Just,
Wow. Wow. You're really gonna sit here and defend him. You know what?
I think you're just like everybody else. Oh, he's dead. He's not dead. Chong Li's like, he's in a coma. He's fine. He'll be all right in a couple days.
But he tried to kill him.
No, he didn't. He was just knocking him out.
If you hit somebody so hard that you put him in a coma, you don't think you're trying to kill them?
You don't get that. You're not that big and tough and in martial arts and not expect that to happen. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, so he has no control. He's got to go full blast, which could kill people. But right,
maybe I don't know. I mean, I'm not a martial arts expert.
Hey,
but
food for thought.
It's just
food for thought.
Just saying.
Food for thought. That's all I'm saying. I can't believe that's the route you took this movie. You're rooting for the villain.
I wouldn't say I'm rooting for him. I'm just saying. My thing is, he was a bad guy, right?
No.
He was the bad guy, and he shouldn't have killed that guy. But up until that point, he wasn't that bad, and everybody was like making him out like he was the devil. Like
he was trying every fight he tried.
No,
to
he
kill
wasn't. No,
he literally
wasn't.
cracked some guy's neck.
He was being thorough.
He was hitting them palm up in the nose, which is a killing blow. Like he was trying to kill them.
I mean, I don't know that. You don't know that. You don't know his life. That's all I'm saying. And then whenever that record got broken, that's when he got really upset. So
you know what you are. You know what you are.
What's that?
You're a villain apologist. That's what you are. You're a villain apologist. You're apologizing for villains. Hey, can I ask you a question? When you watch the original Terminator, do you root for the Terminator?
Yeah, I was a little sad whenever I.
Yeah, like you're like, oh, he's just trying to like talk to them. Is that what you thought was happening?
Hey, I'm on the. If any AIs out there listening, I'm on the Team Skynet. So.
Villains. You're rooting for the villains.
I'm just saying. If the AIs take over, I will roll over immediately.
You're one of those guys when you watch the Karate Kid. You're like,
well, nope, the rebels are back there.
You're like, Daniel-san shouldn't do a high kick. That's you.
Crane kick is illegal. That's all I'm saying.
They tried to break his leg.
Crane kick is illegal.
They were cheating the whole movie.
Crane kick's illegal.
Wow, see, that's exactly what you are. Exactly.
You're not allowed to have both your feet leave the floor.
And in Avatar, you should kill all the blue cat people. We need their woods.
Crane kick is illegal.
Wow. You know what? You should be embarrassed.
Yeah.
Well, I bet you Khal Drogo was just misunderstood.
Who?
Khal Drogo.
He wasn't a bad guy. I mean, he didn't know karate.
He killed Apollo Creed. From Rocky?
Oh, I thought you meant Carl Drogo from
or whatever his name is. No, not Carl. Cal.
I know. I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
But I was like, what are you talking about? Like,
he was also a bad guy.
Yeah.
Slave people.
Well, I mean, that was, that's a cultural thing. That's a little bit. I mean, obviously, I don't know if there's not everybody's a bad guy in that show. Like that's
okay. Independence Day. The aliens were just misunderstood.
Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You know what? Darth Vader, not a bad guy.
No, he was Luke's father. He was trying to retouch base with his son again. I mean,
he killed a bunch of.
That's if anything, that's a heartwarming story.
In the third movie, he literally kills children.
Who does?
Anakin.
No, those movies are
those
that completely doesn't even. That never even happened in my canon because it's such nonsense. So.
Voldemort just.
I don't like his face. No, he's a bad guy.
Oh, because we don't like his face. Okay, all right. Now I know where you stand. Now, if they're an ugly villain,
yeah, no dice.
They got no place here. You know what? Mm-hmm. I bet you wouldn't like Lee if he had his crochet vest on.
Like well, I mean, he got to go. Now, anybody with a crocheted vest is like if Chong Li had a crocheted vest, I definitely wouldn't have been rooting for him. So,
all right, I see. It's all about the appearance of the villain. If they look dumb, they're no good. But if they look all right, then they're fine. They're fine people.
Sure, seems reasonable.
I'll never understand you. I'll never understand you.
Hey, I like to look at things from both sides. Glass half full.
Hey, who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? Let me ask you this though.
What's
I think I'm gonna put you in a hard box right now.
Okay.
We have during this time we have an underground Kumite, right?
Okay.
We can only invite action heroes. You got Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme. I'm trying to think. What's the
Jack Crow?
Jack Crow. Yeah, we'll throw him in there because he'll be the guy that dies first. Steven Seagal, right?
Okay.
You got those Wesley Snipes because he was a real martial artist.
Mm-hmm.
And he was in a bunch of stuff. He was stuff in the 80s. You got
Charles Norris.
Yep, Mr. Chucky Norris. Put him in there. We'll put Bruce Lee in there. I mean, Bruce Lee was out of our time frame. He's in the 60s, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go Chucky Norris. So you got them 7.
Okay.
Who's winning the Kumite?
I mean, it'd have to be probably one of the real martial artists, right?
That's what I'm thinking. My money's still on Van Damme.
Well, so here's the thing. Are we playing by we keeping the gloves on kindergarten rules?
No, it's Kumite rules.
Oh, well, apparently it's not. Not in Eli's Kumite.
No, not in Eli's still be honorable in the Kumite.
Oh, I'm not saying we have pillow fights in Eli's.
I'm not
Kumite.
saying they don't have to try to kill each other, but there has to be a winner to the tournament. There could be a nut shot or two. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I have to be one of the real martial artists. I mean, not saying the other guy. I don't know how. I don't think Schwarzenegger could fight real well. I mean, he could probably street fight, brawl, or I don't know. I don't think he has any martial arts training. Same way with Stallone,
Yeah, I mean, I know Stallone took boxing, for the Rocky movies, but I'm thinking he's out too.
Yeah,
I think it comes down to Snipes, Norris, Seagal, Van Damme.
I feel like Wesley Snipes wouldn't make it because halfway through the IRS would come get him, so he'd be got him.
Right. Well, so he's out. So we're down to the 3.
Mm-hmm.
I think by this point, Norris was so far removed from real martial arts and not doing both flex commercials. I gotta say Norris is out.
We all know Steven Seagal is bad, so I mean,
they say he's really good at Aikido.
Who says that? Him? He says that?
No, he's won Aikido tournaments, real ones when he was younger, when he was in shape.
Right.
But I feel Aikido's a lot of throws. I don't think he's gonna make.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Are we talking about prime of their life, or are we talking?
Yeah, we're talking about prime.
That's quite a different scenario than
I'm talking about
Steven Seagal.
Oh, I guess that's true. Because then, if Norris is prime,
so
he was Bruce Lee's first American student.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Norris does have a shot.
Yeah. I think it'd be a close one. I don't think Norris would hit anybody in the nuts, though. I think he's a straight shooter, And we all know Jean-Claude would. So I think Jean-Claude would win.
But in real life, his sensei wouldn't be on his deathbed.
Who?
In real life, if this was a real life thing we did, right?
Yeah.
Van Damme's not going to have to do nut shots because
it doesn't matter.
He's not going to once
you do it every time. There's no.
I don't think that's a rule.
There's no boundaries to that. Once you do it, you've broken the seal. You're.
So you're just saying he's nut shot crazy.
Probably. You don't learn to do splits like that to not hit people in the nuts. That's all I'm saying.
How does that help you? Oh, I guess that's true because you do.
What do you mean? That's exactly what
I guess
he did.
You're right.
How does it help you?
I guess right. You know what's? Speaking of splits and nut shots, during the training montage. Remember the training where they tied him to the bamboo?
Yeah, that weird
with a rope, the weird split pose. He had to stand up and break him. That was a weird training.
That was weird. Yeah, I'm not sure what that training.
And he's making these weird, screaming moan noises.
Yeah, and why did he have to do that split every time he was meditating or whatever?
I think that's an actual martial arts thing because remember the wrestler Rob Van Dam. Remember the wrestler Rob Van Dam?
Yeah.
He was an actual martial arts too before he did fake wrestling, and that's something he always did as well.
Really? I was just wondering because he did it all the time.
Yeah,
it's okay, we get it. You can do split. Okay,
I know it's I know when I was doing Muay Thai.
I mean, obviously it helps you stretch.
Yeah, a lot of guys would do that. I think it's a thing for people that do a lot of kicks. Like they
Okay.
do that to stretch him out. Cause like even if you look at some of his kicks, like that dude can kick at some, which there are real like weird angle kicks, but like Van Damme was just like he can throw his leg anywhere.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing, and you can tell he really knows martial arts. It wasn't just he wasn't just dialing it in, phoning it in, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's why I like because I also like his movie Kickboxer.
mm-hmm.
Kickboxer's really good.
Lionheart, was he in Lionheart?
Lionheart, yeah.
I kept waiting for
really
that guy to go Lionheart in this movie, but I was like, wait, that's the wrong movie.
Oh man!
Although, really, aren't they all just the same movie? You know, like
I mean, I think the only different
this
one
kind of started it, right? Like this was
his like first big one.
Yeah.
And then like he did a lot of, like just like regular martial arts, but then he started doing weird stuff like Universal Soldier.
Yeah,
which is future police martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I will say this though: if you look at all the action heroes, Van Damme is probably aged the best because he's still built like a brick shit house and still does those splits and stuff.
Yeah, he's still in excellent shape.
Yeah, as compared to some others,
some other people. Yeah,
look at you, Seagal. Looking at you. But like, I would also say, it's weird though, because like Van Damme was like a pretty big star. His career's kind of got weird as he got older. I mean, Seagal, nobody's as bad as Seagal's because like I don't know if you've seen any of his like recent movies.
No.
There a bunch of them on Netflix. You can tell he's green screened into every scene because he won't leave Russia.
Really?
Yeah, because I think he owes back taxes. I think that's why he left.
Yeah.
Or something like that. He did something. That's why he left the States. But he like they green screen him in and he plays the same character in every one and it makes no sense. You can't understand what he's saying. And he does fake martial arts. Like he doesn't even look like he ever knew martial arts.
Martial arts. Yeah.
It looks so bad. And
I mean, aren't those guys kind of pigeonholed though? Like that's their thing. They're martial arts action heroes. You know, like they never really they didn't even in movies like you said, like Universal Soldier, which was like a sci-fi movie. Yeah. He was still a martial arts action hero in a sci-fi movie. So they didn't. That's why his career really same way with Steven Seagal. He's basically the same character in every movie, and there was there's no diversity to it. Where you have somebody like Sylvester Stallone, who's played drama, who's had some funnier movies. Who he's still an action hero. Same way with Schwarzenegger. And, so the ones that really stay around can diversify their what's acting weird, abilities. So
Van Damme tried. He had this show when Amazon first started doing their own stuff. He had this show, and I don't remember what it's called. There was only like 2 seasons. I loved it.
Yeah,
and it was about he played the stunt double for Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay. Yeah.
And like it was like comedy and like him trying to be like funny, which he's not, but it was funny the way he would do it. I would laugh so hard. It was so good. And they ended up canceling him. I was like, I could watch him pretend to be him and try to be funny.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's kind of too late. I mean, if he would have done this in the early 90s, whenever his career was blowing up, if he would have tried to transition to something, it may have been and maybe he did, and I just don't know about it. But I don't recall him ever being in anything other than a martial arts action.
Nah, I mean it's so much so where like it was like a month ago on Netflix he had this movie, and it's about his niece needs a kidney transplant, and he's going to give her a kidney. So he decides a month before he gives her, the weekend before he gives her the kidney, he decides to go to Thailand, do a bunch of drugs, and hook up with hookers one last time. And the hooker he gets with is part of a organ stealing ring, and he wakes up in a bathtub full of ice, missing one of his kidneys. So he has to fight his way through Thailand to get that kidney back so he can fly it back to the States to give to his niece, which he does. But they leave out the part where he did a bunch of drugs and was with hookers.
It doesn't seem like something that they'll let you do if you're on a donor list.
He did martial arts
with one kidney.
Yeah, one kidney. That they just removed.
Right, just got it taken out. It wasn't like
and not even like in a hospital, like in the hotel room.
In a bathtub.
And he was in a bathtub full of ice.
That's fine.
That's kind of movies he does now.
Yeah.
But apparently he's supposed to be, I think, wasn't he in the last Expendables movie?
I'll be honest with you. I've never watched any of those movies.
The first, what's weird? Like the first, because like the first one was, there's a lot of nostalgia. You're like, oh man,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, this is cool. And then they do the second one. You're like,
What are we still doing here?
yeah, like no, it's okay. And they bring in a couple other people, and you're like, all right. And then they did a third one. I'm like, oh, we don't.
They have like 4 of them, don't they?
Well,
Like
they're
3 or
making the
4?
fourth one.
Yeah. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
give it up. I think
they're
we're done with
making the
this. Like,
I mean, how much more can these guys
Yeah.
do? You know,
well, look at Fast and the Furious, though.
it's true. They've done 10. It's all about the family.
Yeah. So it is all about the family, I heard.
That's all I think. That's a trend they didn't hit in the 70s and 90s, doing 27 installments for one franchise.
They didn't catch that.
I say that, but like I think like some slasher movies did.
Yeah, but not within that time frame.
No.
I mean, because since the 2000s, Fast and Furious, 20 years, 10 movies, you know what I mean?
You know what though? I don't know, because I think if you look at the Halloween movies since the 70s,
maybe, yeah,
between 70, well, that was over 30 years though.
That's what I mean. It's
a little over
longer,
20, little over 20 years, but
yeah.
But this one, like, I don't know how any of these guys can still do this.
Yeah, well, they're resilient. Yeah, but I mean, realistically, what are they doing? They're just delivering lines, and then stuntmen do all their. You know what I mean?
This is true.
Not really. But I mean, in all fairness, they're not really doing a whole lot. Nah.
Except for Van Damme, that guy's gonna be high kicking until he's 90.
An excuse to do a split and punch somebody between the legs. So.
I'd hate to live in his house. You think that's a practical joke he does?
What's that?
Like he's walking Van Damme's house.
Yeah.
He's like, hello, split, nut punch.
Maybe.
He's like, got you. Or like you open a closet and he's like doing a split in the closet.
Yeah. I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah. I can't.
You know what else I liked about? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. I guess this would have been before like Street Fighter and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you watch this, you kind of get that feel of like the Street Fighter game,
it's like I always liked about his, because like, I mean, let's be honest, like Kickboxers, it's not super different from this.
Yeah.
Or like, I'll rank him, like him, Jackie Chan. Oh, we didn't include Jackie Chan in our list in the Kumite.
I mean, I don't think he's ever been in like this type of movie though, right? Like he's a martial arts action hero, but here's a more of like
not some of his. If you look at some of his,
like this is the only martial arts in this movie is in the ring. You know what I mean?
Oh, right.
So this is like a different type of action. Yeah. Like there's no like him running around jumping over stuff to avoid bad guys. Like this guy, they just literally beat each other up in the ring.
Yeah.
And, like it's a tournament, but so
yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah, I don't think he did any like that. I don't think Jet Li. I don't know, unless you count the one kind of tournament style, because he was trying to kill all his clothes or his. But
like those are like we're talking about like Bloodsport. This Bloodsport,
Kickboxer,
Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Lionheart.
Would you count Mortal Kombat?
No. Oh man, what Best of the Best? I think I just said that. That was that one with. But like those,
right.
Those kind of niche. Type of tournament movies. If you count Mortal Kombat, you have to count Street Fighter the movie. So
they're both bad.
Yeah.
What do you think? I mean, Street Fighter had Van Damme in it. Didn't save it.
The first one, yeah.
Yeah, the first one. Do you think Van Damme could have saved the first Mortal Kombat movie?
No, nothing could have saved that movie. No, nothing short of a blowtorch could have saved that movie. It was so awful.
Oh my god. That's true.
The new one was even better. So
you know what? I had high hopes for that new one.
Why? What gave you?
I was like,
where you're like, hey, you know what? I got high hopes for this.
The first 10 minutes of that movie gave me hopes, because I was like, okay.
I dare you to name one video game adaptation movie that is any good. Chong Li is waiting.
Let me ask you: Is it good because I'm like, oh, this isn't bad, or like, are you talking about like an actual like across the board dialogue?
Just a decent movie. We'll even say decent.
I think the Silent Hill movie is decent. That's probably I'm trying to think of video game movies. That's probably the only one. Probably the first Silent Hill. It's decent. Not great, but it's decent.
Not great. Yeah.
Decent.
Well, there
Better
you go.
than the Resident Evil movies.
Well, yeah. They're not good.
I'm trying to think of what other video game movies that came out around this time. Three Dragons or American Ninjas? That was a video game, wasn't it? Or Three Dragons?
Double Dragon was a
Double
video game.
Double Dragons. Then they did the Double Dragon movie.
And it was bad.
It was terrible. It was terrible. You can't argue that. Technically,
they can't do it. It's so weird. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm sitting here and I'm like,
yeah,
I can't think of one. I can't think of one. I can tell you what I think is the absolute worst one.
What's that? Mario Brothers.
I was gonna say Battleship, and that's not a video game, it's a board game, but it's still terrible.
Yeah, Battleship. Wow, that movie was real bad. Yeah.
Oh my
God. Sunk my battleship.
Because it's an alien. I'm like,
it didn't make any sense.
What?
It was so stupid.
What?
Who even like thought of that? Who was like, hey, I want to make a movie out of a board game that has nothing to do with anything.
You know what's weird? It's like I get there's no original ideas left in Hollywood, but why not do some more crazy action movies? Like John Wick. Like I would count like John Wick reminds me a lot of like these type of like 80s crazy action movies, right? That's all it is. Like it's crazy action. It's more about the fights and the plot. The plot's fine enough on its there, right, whatever. Yeah. And like, but really that's the only movies I can think of that does it like that. It's like just kind of simple, crazy action. Like those Fast Furious movies, I don't count those because like they do a bunch of stupid stuff.
Yeah, the thing is about John Wick, there's one central character and everybody else is just fluff.
Yeah.
And the plot is just there. Like it's he does some stuff because that's
that's all I need. That's all the reason I need to watch him.
And I mean, not to mention the action is good. Like that plays a big portion of it. It's not CGI'd nonsense. It's not, and there's nothing wrong with CGI if it's done well, but it's choreographed well. They took the time to get people that know how to fight to do the fighting scenes, which why would you do that? I mean, that's crazy, crazy talk. It's
weird that they thought to do it in this movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know who choreographed this. So.
Well, the real
man,
Duke.
the legend. Yeah. The real Duke. The real Duke.
The real Duke. Not Salsa Duke.
Not Salsa Duke.
The real Duke.
The real Duke.
No, I agree with you. I think it's just I think that's why when we decided to do a show we did on this time frame because they just don't make movies like this anymore.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I will say this: they've done some sequels to Bloodsport without Van Damme,
but they were good.
They were not. Same plot, every one of them.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah.
What's up with that? His sensei's wife's eyes, her facial expression.
What do you mean?
Did you know? Like she looked like she was out of her mind when they were talking to her. Like,
when the police were questioning her.
Just in general, like every time anybody talked to her.
Well, like that whole thing is. You mean like she was only in the movie for like I don't know what?
Yeah,
3
but
minutes?
every time I looked at her, she had like this real weird like it was real weird.
I don't know.
Did you notice that she's like hello?
I don't think she is. I don't think she must not have been a real actress because like it was weird because she like her face was all like her emotions and like reactions and stuff were just like weird. And because like I'm assuming because you guys raised Jean-Claude Van Damme, you know that he makes up 90% of the fighting force of the U.S. That he's going to fight in this thing. And she's like, and like you're trying to cover for him. She's like, I don't know. He left 2 days ago. I don't know who. My husband's dying. I don't know. And it's like, what? And like I don't know if she was like just a bad actress and she was trying to play it off like she was trying to cover him, or if like she forgot for a minute she was in a movie.
Yeah, she
I don't know.
Wasn't good. Yeah,
I was like, I don't know what she was doing. Like even like, they must have found her in the same place they found that played young Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, the whole like first 25 minutes of the movie was full of bad acting, and I thought the audio was dubbed for some reason. Like it seemed like
there's no way the kid that played young Jean-Claude Van Damme. There's no way that was his voice.
Yeah,
there's no way. That's a ridiculous sounding voice. Like at first, I thought it was Jean-Claude Van Damme trying to speak in like a higher pitch,
Uh-huh.
or like if they ran it through a synthesizer or something. Like I don't know,
it was real weird.
it just sounded real bad, and I was like, all right, well. But once again, the thing I'll say about this movie is it takes 10 minutes
Yeah,
to set up the whole plot for him to get
right. They didn't screw around too awful much in the beginning.
Right. For him to get to Tokyo to do the Kimute, like it 10 minutes, and he's on a plane, he's gone. Like and then it's fights.
Mm.
So like I don't even, whatever. But then they gave me good fights, and it gave me some memorable man hugs and shakes, some weird music, some weird lines. Because you're right, like when Jackson called out Lee, they didn't have a run-in yet. Like it's not like anything happened. He just like called him out, and Lee was
like Chong Lee, he's like, "What are you pointing at me for?" Like he even like looked around, like he was like,
"We haven't had a run-in yet." Like what are you?
Like you pointed at me. You're too early pointing at me yet. Like
it's not even like in the beginning, like they had some kind of run-in. Him, Van Damme, and all them. Like it was just like sitting there, just like watching, and like I was like, "I'm coming." He's like, "What? You haven't even seen me fight yet." I know. Like, what are you talking about?
I bet that Chong Lee's fun to hang out with,
when he's not trying to elbow you in the skull and kill you.
You know what?
Is that what you count as fun?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out what you think is fun.
This is those ghosts all over again. I'm done with this.
Listen, there's clear rules.
Everybody, you can listen to us on To Honor.
Oh man. Well, hey Jeff, I guess to wrap this up, would you recommend this movie people?
Yeah, I would. If you like action, if you like fighting movies, and the thing was, it wasn't overly like macho. You know what I mean? Like it was very, it was very tame in that department compared to some action movies. 100%. I'd recommend this. I don't think there was any nudity.
No,
very little swearing.
No, I mean there's some blood.
Yeah,
and like I would say probably the most grotesque scene is when they show that one
leg,
guy's
leg
femur broke through his skin, but like he doesn't.
Why'd they choose a white mat in a movie called Bloodsport? Anyhow,
they can see where to clean up the blood.
I guess.
I don't know. I just think like how every time they show
one guy picks up that tooth. You catch that?
And put in his mouth.
It's like
someone's tooth get knocked out. He puts his mouth.
The
other thing,
there was the Sheik. Is that what he was, or like the?
I can't remember what they said his name was. And then I just remember like the first time I watched this, and like now as an adult, I get it, they were making the ring smaller and smaller. So they had no run. But I remember the first time I watched this, I'm like, why does the ring keep getting smarter and keep curving on the ends?
Yeah.
I don't understand what the point of those curves.
Yeah.
Like it's like it almost looks like they're getting ready to fold it like a diaper. And I'm like, what are they doing?
Like, what are they
Why is that ring like that? You know what? Still love it.
How about you? I assume you'd recommend this.
Love it. I would. I recommend everybody. Like you said, if you like action or if you just like martial arts movies, you like fighting movies. Anyway, this is a fun one to watch, and it's not like it's super long. It's about like an hour and a half. It's real fun. It's not slow. It's not like you don't really have to pay that much attention to the plot.
Yeah.
Good time.
You can actually just fast forward past the beginning
first 10
part
minutes,
if you don't even want to, and then you can just get to the fighting scene. So.
All the fights are good. It all looks good. I definitely recommend it.
Yep.
Right, cool. Anything else you want to tell us, fine folks, before we wrap up here?
No.
Besides that, you're gonna shoot them. If they're not a villain, you're gonna shoot them in the neck with a gummy snake.
I was gonna say, Eli just needs to examine his principles. I think.
Principles.
You heard it here, guys. He's okay with punching people in the leg, between the legs.
You're the one defending
he
a
says
villain.
It's fine as long as it's honorable. He says.
Wow,
so that's where he stands.
Let me ask you this:
you can check us out on Spotify or iTunes podcasts. Check out our website at LoremastersOfTheAbsurd.com. You can check us out on Facebook at LoremastersOfTheAbsurd.com. You can also follow me on LoremasterJeff on Instagram. How about you, Eli?
You can follow me on Instagram at LoremasterEli. You can also check out videos of the episodes on YouTube. Wherever you listen to podcasts, make sure you rate us 5-star review. We're starting the year off with a bang. Can't give less 5 stars for a bang. I think.
If you listen to us, depends on if you walk down that really long alleyway.
Well, hey, it's a Kumite, right? 5 stars at the Kumite. That's the only way you get into Kumite. 5 stars. So that's how reviews we want.
That's how you get into the Kumite.
That's right. 5 stars.
Hey, if you don't get 5 stars, Eli's going to come to your house and hit you in your privates because he thinks that's
if you hear the doorbell ring, you're going to open it. I'm going to be on your porch doing a split. Nut shot. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, also make sure you leave us a review. I think you should put a review and tell Jeff to check his life priorities. The guy's rooting for a villain, and I'm starting to notice a trend where he's always defending the villains. So just saying, just saying that might be something you find folks could help him address.
Loremasters Shirt on Instagram.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. New episodes drop every Mondays.
Too busy trying not to get hit in the balls.
Well, I'm trying to get into a split pose right now. Thanks for listening, everyone. And
new episode every Monday.
I just said that.
Did you? New episode every Monday, and YouTube's out on Wednesdays.
Yeah, YouTube's out on Wednesdays. And make sure you join us next week as we do our last month or our last movie to fall under our starting the year off with a bang theme here for January.
Special guest next week.
Yeah, we got a special guest, and then and I think we're ending on a doozy. I think we're ending on a real doozy. And then also maybe we'll tease what's coming next month. Maybe if you're nice and you don't kill people and throw salt in their eye, Jeff.
You know what? That's the chalk to keep his hands dry.
And why did he throw in his eye?
He was trying to chalk his hands up, and it just accidentally
crushed it in one hand.
How else are you going to chalk your hands?
Did
up?
A throwing motion?
Well, the arena's tilted. He didn't want to fall. He's like, oh,
he was already laying on the ground.
No, I think you may rewind.
He was on his knees. You missed it. He was already on his knees. He pulled it out of his pants.
Bye, everybody.